Nolan, correct. This is your second race at Barber, correct?
First race in IndyCar at Barber.
First race at IndyCar at Barber.
Yep.
So, how's preparation for your first race here look for you going into this race, especially with the rain forecast for Saturday and qualifying?
Yeah, I'm not really concerned about the rain. Honestly, I think we'll be fine either way. Whatever happens on that front. But we tested here, so I've driven the IndyCar here, which makes a difference, and I think with the rain in the forecast, that actually plays into our hand a little bit. So if the race is our first dry session, at least we've been here and we've tested here, and I've got some laps, so that's nice. And I think the preparation's the same as any other race. You know, it's obviously a different track, but we have the same group of people. I feel like we've made a lot of progress. We've been fast, and we just need to put it all together this weekend. It doesn't matter where we are, the execution just needs to come, and I think that we have all the ingredients to make a good weekend.
We've had a couple races we had a thermal, but then we also done a couple street course races as well. How's the red tire fared versus the green tire so far this year?
The green tire on the street courses has been extremely soft. Very, very fast for one lap, comes in super quick, but it's proven to deg very, very fast as well, and hasn't been the preferred tire on the street courses. The red was the preferred tire at thermal. We'll see here. It'll be interesting to see, because I think the reds were the preferred tire last year at Barber. It's the same tire this year, but we've got more hybrid weight, and it's a slightly different car, so nobody really knows, and that's kind of what's makes IndyCar so fun, is you don't really know until warm-up or even the start of the race, and then you take a gamble and see if it'll pay off. So we'll see.
You think that, speaking of that added weight, will that affect the strategy for y'all this weekend?
Yeah, it always affects the way the tire reacts, affects the balance of the car, it affects the race pace. So yes, it will definitely make a difference, and I don't think anyone knows exactly what it's going to do yet, so we'll just have to see as the weekend goes on.
We had open test last week as well at Indianapolis. What was the feel for the car there initially, and what are your thoughts now with McLaren racing in the Indy 500 coming up this month?
Yeah, we had a really good test. I think a very positive test. I think we have fast race cars. So I feel like we're in a good spot. We're in as good a spot as anyone. It's always hard to know after the open test. Testing is, if you're fast, you're not convinced that you're going to be fast when you come back, and if you're slow, you're not worried about it because you don't know what anyone else is doing. And so it's like, we learned what we needed to learn. We did our own program, and I think we're happy with where we are, and we're happy with the feeling of the car. So it was a different experience for sure this year for me than last year, and I'm excited to get going and get the high boost on for qualifying and really, get going fast.
Last question, how is working with Kyle Larson as a teammate during that weekend?
I've really enjoyed working with Kyle. Obviously, we haven't spent a ton of time together yet, but great guy, super nice person, and obviously has a ton of experience and is willing to, impart some of his wisdom. So I'm going to learn as much as I possibly can from Kyle, and I know he doesn't have a ton of experience in IndyCar, but someone like that just has so much kind of racing knowledge that I can pull from, and really look forward to working with him more.
Awesome, thank you, Nolan.
How much does this kind of set the tone for me? Because you're going from here to Indy after this weekend. How much does this really set the tone for the next couple weeks?
Yeah, I think this race doesn't necessarily translate to the speedway, but it changes the kind of dynamic within the team. You can build some momentum, and I think if you have a good weekend to start the month of May, have a good Indy GP, everyone's in good spirits and excited for the month, and so we want everyone to be as excited as possible and energized going into the speedway, right? So I think it would make a difference to have a good weekend here for sure.
Thank you.
You mentioned testing here last month. How much did that change the baseline setup coming into this race? Like, how much did y'all learn in that test?
Yeah, we learned a huge amount at that test that will transfer, obviously to this race weekend, but also other places we go. So we get so little testing in this series. So every day that we do is super valuable, and we always run through a huge amount of stuff that we can then carry to other tracks. And so that was a very valuable day for us. And for me, having never driven the IndyCar at Barber, it was super valuable for me as well. So definitely feel better coming into this weekend having done the test.
I'm guessing you had a couple of sim days before the test. Does that help you learn even more than what you might have done had you not had the sim days?
Yeah, it's always good to get on the sim. GM does a great job with their simulation program, and so those were valuable days as well. It's always hard at tracks like this with a lot of elevation change, because that's the one thing in the simulator that's very hard to get a feel for as a driver, is like feeling the elevation change and feeling the load in these long duration fast corners. So having both the real life experience and the sim experience, putting it all together, I've gotten as much as I can, as much experience as I can without having actually raced the car here. So I feel like I'm in as good a spot as I could be.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.